going live today with the Sell a House Wholesale Real Estate Investing, number 167, if I'm not mistaken here. Yes, it is 167 on this new op day, August 3rd, 2015. Good morning, John. How you doing today?
I'm doing great. Actually, I'm having a good rising as opposed to waking up in morning. But
Thank you very much.
I'm doing great. Excited to be here. The last couple weeks, I have not been part of the Hangouts. I think I've made one in the last 2 weeks. So I'm extremely excited to be back on board with these Hangouts. Extremely excited to be here with Mr. Paul Romero in the flesh himself, getting a beautiful view of the side of his house there in Tahoe. I could see he's in the shade of some nice tree on a nice bench. So, yeah, thank you for having me on today, Paul. And welcome to did you say this is number 167, or is that for the other Hangout?
Oh, yeah, that's right. I'm sorry. This is 147.
Oh, okay. I was going to say, because I want to be here for number 150. We've got something really special planned for episode 150, as that is a milestone to me. That's every 50 episodes, I think we have to do something special. So we're coming close. That's next new op day.
Yeah, I was just going to say how appropriate that'll fall on a new op day.
Yes.
And this is actually not the side of my house. It's actually the side of my shed out back. I wish my house looked as good as this shed did. Shed that I built, by the way, with these two hands right here.
Nice.
But yeah, no, I got an awesome little backyard here that hopefully will see some attention over the course of the next 30 days while I am here. And that I think is maybe a good subject here. How can I afford to be 700 miles away from my business for 30 days and not be worried about it? And know that two things are going to happen. Number one, business is going to continue, and either the income level which we have achieved and maintained over the past 3 or 4 months here is going to either be maintained or quite possibly even increased. So, how does all that, how does a person get to a point like that where they have that availability? And in actuality, John himself is just coming back from being away from the business for 2 weeks back in New York, and he had no worry about any of these things happening either.
What affords us that ability is basically it comes down to actually I could say it comes down to one word, but a lot encompasses what goes to create this. But it comes down to having a business system, something that is a repeatable process that produces a predictable result, and it can take place whether or not you're actively working the system or not, that system will bring you in an income. That's my definition of a business system right there. Now, with that, there's a lot that goes into building that system. It takes a team, which we're lucky enough, and I wouldn't even use the word lucky, because nothing happens, in my opinion, by luck alone. I would say we're more blessed, and that's because we've been given the opportunity because we had our eyes open to that opportunity, which all falls into the realm of personal development, the law of attraction, all that stuff. But basically, Paul and I, luckily, we were blessed to have been able to meet each other, to get these ideas, mastermind these ideas, put it into motion, and create a business system. But it takes a team. One of the reasons I was able to go away for 2 weeks and know that the system was going to continue to roll on without me is because we have a team in place that's managing and running the system. So that's basically what you need, really, in order to have a business that would afford you the ability to leave town when you want, have time to do the things that you want when you want to do them, have the money you want to do the things you want to do when you want to do them. It comes down to the business system.
Absolutely. And you know what? I'm going to go back to the beginning of that. And how do you turn a business into a business system? Well, I think you can narrow it down to starting every day that you clock in, because basically 90%, well, most businesses out there, people create a business because, they don't like working for somebody else. They don't like being told what to do. They want to do, things their way. And so the problem with that is a lot of people they start their business, and two problems that they have is, number one, they're coming from a place of an employee, as a worker bee, somebody who knows how to, get the job done, but they really maybe don't have a lot of knowledge about business itself, about running a business. So now what they've done is they've taken on two positions. Now they themselves have to be the one out there that's getting the job done, as well as secondarily falling back to the office and running the business. So, so they really now, given themselves two jobs instead of just one, which generally they are getting paid better for. But as far as their time goes, that's where the problem lies, because they have to devote twice as much time to accomplish what they, to get this, additional income, and it feels good because they're able to, like you said, get paid better and make better money and have a better life, but they are trading more of their time for it. And the way to start creating a business system out of those kind of beginnings, is to not look at the fact that I created this business so that I can work it for the rest of my life, but looking at this business as I've created this business so that I've started this business so that I can create something that, I don't have to work at every day, and then maybe eventually I can actually sell. With that as an end game, every day that you go and you clock in, well, you don't clock in because you keep your own time, but every day that you show up at your business, the first question you have to ask yourself is, what can I fire myself from today? And that's how you start creating business systems. You start looking around at all of the aspects of your business, and most likely you're going to want to start with things that you are A, not good at, or B, extremely dislike, that are part of running a business, that have to be done. You might like, and here's the thing too, and you got to be careful with this, because there might be a part of this whole thing that you really like doing but you suck at. And maybe you have to consider, is it really worth my time to do this piece that I really like but I suck at, or should I get somebody else who's really good at it to do it for me, and maybe because I like it, I can learn from them, and eventually later on I can do it. But the whole idea of firing yourself from the things that you A, don't like, and B, the things that you suck at, those are the pieces of your business that suck away all your time. Because if you're not good at it, it's hard to do, it takes longer to do, and if you don't like it, you're going to procrastinate at it, and you're not going to put the attention that it needs on it, and it's going to take longer to do. So those are the two places where your time is really being sucked away from you the most. And so if you show up at work today and you say, you know what, I really hate doing this accounting, and instead of doing this accounting today, for the hour that I devote to doing the accounting, I'm going to open the phone book and I'm going to start calling some accountants. And I'm going to get an accountant to do this accounting for me. And so, boom, there you go. Number one, I fired myself from accounting. I have somebody that does that. I don't have to deal with that anymore. And you will find that most people, they get trapped into two problems. Is number one, they think about, well, nobody can do it as good as I can do it, or I can't afford to pay somebody else to do it. Well, the thing is, you might not be able to look at the picture right now and say, I can't afford to hire an accountant. But if you look at it this way and you go, okay, I really can't afford to pay for an accountant, but if I pay for an accountant and that frees up 3 hours of my week, I can apply that 3 hours to another area of my business where I can make more money that I can afford to pay for the account.
Yes, It's about changing your perspective. The mindset. That's why we talk so much on these hangouts about personal development and self-growth, is because for most people that get into business for themselves, all they do is they become self-employed. They own their job. They don't have the boss, so they have the luxury of that. But all they've done is created another job for themselves. And what most self-employed people do is work twice the amount of hours they would if they were employed by someone else. They might make a little money, but they're putting more time into it. And they have all the stress, the worry, and the hassles of managing all aspects of the business. And I really, really like what Paul said at the beginning of, why is this person pulling up in front of my house? Okay, he has nothing to do with me. I don't know. I was like, is he serving me paperwork? I don't know. Anyway, I like what Paul really said when he began talking about the business system is here. Is like every day you're working in your business. And you know what? I'm going to just start by saying there's nothing wrong with becoming self-employed and doing everything yourself and working all these crazy hours when you get started. The key thing is when you get started. But if you take what Paul's advice was in the beginning of his little section there of this hangout, he says every day you're working, you should be thinking of things you can fire yourself from doing. I mean, that's so powerful. Get your mind thinking, how can I replace myself? Every task, every day in every way, every task you're doing throughout the day, think about, is this something I can replace myself with? Because as you replace yourself and fire yourself from all these different jobs, what you're doing is you're gaining back time in your day to devote to the things that you really enjoy and like doing. For me, just to give an example, as I know in real estate, the rubber meets the road and money is made on the acquisition of a property, which means when a seller is signing a contract, giving you buying rights to that property. That's when money is made in real estate. Quite frankly, all I want to be doing is spending my time sitting with those people. The system that Paul and I created here that we were inviting everyone to take a look at and be part of gives me that ability. It gives me the ability to close deals regularly. And every day I'm doing things that I really don't want to do still, but every day that I'm doing those things, I'm thinking of ways to get myself out of doing those things. And it doesn't just have to be in your business life. Life can be extremely busy. There's always a lot of things to do. There's commuting, there's taking care of kids. The simple act of taking a shower and going to the bathroom and grooming yourself takes time out of your day. Cooking meals, sitting down, eating the meals. What I'm getting at is you begin to think of every aspect of your life and replace yourself. I personally hate yard work. I haven't done yard work in a year and a half, almost 2 years, because I chose to live in a townhome community where the yard work is taken care of. And another thing I'm not good at, I don't like doing, it takes a lot of time that I quite frankly feel is a waste of my own time, is cleaning toilets and cleaning bathtubs and mopping floors. So I hire a maid service to come by every 2 weeks and take care of that stuff. Some people might go, well, why are you going to pay $100? You could just do it yourself. That's 4 hours a day to do those things that I could be out there signing a contract that's going to make me 200 times that amount of money. And if you don't have time to really cook all your meals, but you want to eat healthy, there's services you can use to provide you your meals. I'm only throwing these things out there to get your mind thinking different examples of things you could start to eliminate from your life or take off your plate and leverage other people, leverage some of your money to get these things taken care of so you have more time to do the things you want. In your business, you should only be doing the things in your business that you love doing and figure out a way to get other people hired on. Give other people the opportunity to work by hiring them to do the things in your business that you don't want to do. That's the whole point to a business system and why we're in business for ourselves. And it's a totally different mindset than most self-employed entrepreneurs have when they start their journey of being an entrepreneur or a business owner.
One of the big traps that people fall into with them being able to do that is, like I said in the beginning there too, is the fact that people think that, they get this feeling that, nobody can do this as good as me, or if I want it done right, I have to do it myself, kind of mentality. And you really sort of need to develop, you really sort of need to undevelop that mentality and be willing to bring people into a position. As long as they can do it 80% as good as you can do it, that's good enough. Because you know what? If they can do it 80% as good as you, then you only have to manage 20% of that. And you just gave away 80% of that time was taken off your plate. And all you have to do is manage it for 20% of the time to pick up the slack and make sure that it is getting done right, when they can do the bulk of it for you that takes up all the time. And that's a huge thing right there, because, some places and some aspects of the business, like I said, especially the areas where you suck, it's probably not going to be difficult to put somebody or put a system or a piece of technology or whatever it is to leverage something in place that's actually going to do it better than you. And that's great when you can do that. But then you're going to be, and you'll do that. Those will probably be the areas where you go after first, because it's the easiest, because you can let go, because, hey, I'm no good at that. This guy's a pro at it. Yeah, take it. You know what I mean? And that's pretty easy to give up. But once you get beyond that, and now you're at the point where, well, nobody can do this like I can do this. I have to do this every day. But maybe that's something that doesn't actually, like John says, that's not the place where the rubber meets the road, where it actually brings income into your business. And maybe that's, hopefully that's the place where you're the best at. And so even though this has to get done and you don't feel anybody can do it as good as you, and maybe that's actually installing the pipes on the house. Well, hey, listen, hire some guy who can install the pipes on the house 80% as good as you do. And then all you got to do is show up at the end of the day and go out there and look at his job, correct the 20% that he didn't get right, and have him fix it, or fix it yourself, whatever the case is. But you only spent, instead of all day on the job fixing the pipe, repairing the pipes or putting in the pipes or whatever, you only showed up for 1 hour, did the final touches, boom, there you go. You're in and out. Job got done. You got paid, and you didn't have to put 8 hours in. You only put in 1 hour. You see how that kind of where I'm going with that? You got to be able to let go of that whole, nobody can do this and I got to do it if I want it done right kind of mentality, and be willing to give up. As long as you can find somebody to do it 80% as good as you, that's 80% of your time back, and you only have to manage 20% of it. Huge area where people have a real hard time getting beyond in a lot of businesses.
Yeah, exactly. I started my first business, and I bring it back to myself because all I can do is give examples of what I know. And I started my first business. It's so funny, about 10 years ago at this point, right? Yeah, about 9-10 years ago at this point. And it was a paint contracting business. And when I first started that business, my mentality was, I'm going to have my paint van lined up with all my tools and paint. I'm going to do all the jobs myself. They're going to come out perfect. And that's the kind of business I wanted. And, after about 3-4 years, I just got burnt out working 60 hours a week, every day of the week. And I realized, okay, I do know that when I was doing that painting, that I'm very good at what I do, very meticulous, very detail orientated. And it is, in that particular industry, very hard to find someone that can do it as good as me. And I had to kind of let it go a little bit and realize that, okay, if I can find someone to do it as 80% as good as me, go in there, get the bulk of these jobs done, and then I go in to check on things at the end and just fix the details. Hey, rather than now having to be on that job site for 8 to 10 hours, 6 days out of the week, I only need to kind of show up for an hour in the morning, get the guys going each morning, and then at the end of the job, come back for the last day of the job to make sure all the details and the wrapping up of the job was done properly. So I literally, for a particular paint job, gone from working 6 days, 8 hours a day to maybe an hour each morning at that job. And on the 6th day, go in for about 6 hours just to make sure everything's done right. So if you look at that, that's about 12 hours as opposed to 48 hours. And then when I got into that mindset, what I realized is, hey, if I do this, maybe I can have 8 paint jobs going at a time. And all I've got to do is go and set up the guys and come in and check on each one at the end of the job. And then my mentality went to, all right, now I need to find a guy that can go in and do detail work. And he won't be on one job site every day through start to completion, but he'll come on to the last day of each job to make sure the details and that type of stuff is done properly. A quality control manager, so to speak, if you will. And I haven't touched a paint job. Luckily, I haven't touched a paintbrush probably in close to over a year now, and I don't intend on ever picking one up again unless it's a dire emergency that I've got this contract or I made a promise to somebody and I don't have the manpower, and I like to keep my promises. And I'm also lucky enough in that business to have 2 other business partners, a team, hence the system, and the team is integral to the creation of the system, that I don't even have to really think about that business anymore. And now I have time to do what I'm really passionate about, which is real estate and network marketing.
Which, you know what, you hit right on there. I was going to interrupt, but you flowed right into the key element. There was the fact that once you basically created your team who could handle the bulk of the work, and all you were doing was hitting the 1 day out of 6. Let's just say every paint job in the world took 6 days to complete, right? So
Wow.
your guys are out there, they work the first 5 days and you work on the 6th day. Well, hey, great. You know what? I just freed up 5 days out of my life. What can I do with those 5 days? You know what? I'm going to create another team. So now I can have one team over here doing this, and I can spend my 5 days training this team how to do it. And now I've got 2 teams out there going, and I have to go out on Friday to the first team and on Saturday to the second team, to those 2 jobs, to put in my 6 hours worth. And I've got 2 jobs being completed in the same amount of time, meaning I just doubled my income. And then you go, okay, now what do I do? Well, now I turn around next week. I'm going to spend the 4 days that I got, because now I just spent 5 days training a team. I know how to do it faster and better, and I'm going to go train another team, and I'm going to have 3 teams out there, and I only have to go out on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday to finish off their jobs, and now I've tripled my income. So you might be thinking at the very beginning that, oh, I can't afford to hire these guys to do all this work, and I just show up and do things 1 day a week. That's where the whole thing lies, is once you get that one in place, you can do it again. Duplication. You can duplicate it again. You can duplicate that little mini system you created within your business, and you can create 2 teams and double your income to more than pay for what you got going on. You can create 3 teams to triple it, and all by duplicating that little mini system there that you created. And then the best part, of course, is once you've gotten to the position where you've got the 6 teams running, and they're out there 6 days a week, and you're showing up. Now you're back to having to put in 6 days a week yourself, because you have to go Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, and Saturday, each one of those days, to finish each one of each team's jobs off. And like you said, then you find the quality control guy to replace you in that position, and now he goes in there and he completes all those jobs, and all you got to do now at this point in time, all you got to do is show up 1 day a week, make sure that he did his work right, because he's the one that's checking on their work. He's doing the final piece. You go in, you make sure he did his work right, and guess what you get to do? Pick up the check and go to the bank.
I mean, you could take it even further. This applies to the real estate business, because we run our real estate business very similar in a way. And then so once you've eliminated yourself from actually having to do the physical labor there, because as a business owner of a paint contracting business, the reason it's so intense is if you're doing the work, you're not just going out and painting every day. How are you getting those paint jobs? That's a whole other thing. You got to be out there selling. You got to be out there making connections with people that need your service, and then meeting with those people, selling yourself to them, selling your business to them, and estimating a job. So you go, you look at a job, you estimate the costs, You sit with the client, sell them on why your estimate's the best estimate. But before that estimate could even make it to them, you've got to go into your QuickBooks or whatever system you're using. You got to type out a proposal. Takes 20 minutes or so. For me, I'm a slow typer, and then bring it over. So it comes to the point where you're like, there's so many things. You know what? You need a secretary and an assistant, the person that's going to do your invoices, your accounts receivable, and type out your proposals. You can even get a guy that's better than you at reading blueprints and looking at jobs. So you hire an estimator, and all you got to go out there is just sell it. Just find the clients, and because that is, even in the paint business, it's not the physical action of applying paint to the walls that makes the money. It's the sale. It's the acquisition of the job that makes you money. The contract. Same thing comes down to real estate. If you're a rehab guy, your rehab project isn't what's making you money. It's when you get the seller to sell you the property at the price you need. It's the same freaking concept. I mean, it's the same concept. So you're not going to be the one doing the physical labor on those rehab projects. You're not going to be the one doing the physical estimation of the costs of repair on those projects. Hell, at this point in the game, I'm not even the one that's doing the comps on the property. Now, it is good, and I truly believe you got to build your team, that you got to have a working knowledge of all the different aspects of the business, at least enough working knowledge to know what needs to be done and who is the best person you have available at your disposal to plug into those positions. That's what you need to be doing if you want to be truly successful and have a business system, is kind of have a general overview of what the business needs to accomplish. Find your niche within the business. Maybe it's managing and leading people. Maybe it's being the top salesman, but you need to have a working knowledge of the broad sense of what the business needs to accomplish, the different positions within the business, and then have the ability to plug the right person into the right position so that everything that the system needs to accomplish can be accomplished.
Yeah, you just basically, you got to become a leader. You don't want to be a cog in the wheel. You just want to be a leader. And, in order to lead people and systems properly, you do have to have a working knowledge of each part of things. That is, quite honestly, you have to know more than the people that are doing the piece, because if you don't know more than that, they're going to be out there doing whatever section this is. And then when you step in and say, well, I don't like how this is going, I want to change it to do this, that, or the other thing, or whatever, however that goes, they're going to have a real easy time just blowing you off, thinking, well, this guy doesn't know half of what I know. Why should I be listening to him? Forget that. And so you have to be, in order to be a leader, you have to have, a working knowledge, a solid working knowledge of all components of what's going on there. And like I said in the beginning, you don't like, or you're not any good at accounting, so you hire an accountant. But, eventually you're going to have to come back around, and you're going to have to learn accounting in order to be able to check on your accountant to make sure that they're actually doing the things right. Now, in the very beginning, you can pass it off, and you can trust a professional to take something like that over from you. But eventually you have to go back and you have to learn it, after you've systemized all your other stuff, and now you've got free time. Now you can go back and you can, learn that part of the business so that you can go in there and check on things and make sure that it's being done the right way that you want it to be done. So to be a leader, you have to have a better working knowledge than those who are doing the work. Otherwise, it's very easy for them to blow you off as, well, it's on him. He doesn't know half of what I know, So with that, I would just wanted to say that, why are we talking about a business system when this is a real estate investing hangout? Well, because as John said, the system that we've created here with the Property Noodlers is a system which allows a person to come in and join our team and start to, learn about real estate investing, do real estate investing from day one, making money, I mean, as quickly as you can possibly make it in this business to keep you excited and going and wanting to do more. But it also gives you the ability to expand out and start, working your way towards, your own sort of, building your own team and utilizing the systems and whatnot. And so it's a powerful thing. Systems are everything. And, starting from the whole ball of the business system, breaking that down into the individual systems within that run it, and your systems can be human driven, or they can be technology driven, or they could be financial driven. There's a lot of different ways that your systems can be in place to make all the pieces work for you. And with that, I think that's I just want to say, if you are interested in joining a real estate system that gives you the opportunity to, see and do everything and become a part of a team that has the systems already in place, so you don't have to go out and start figuring out how to create them yourself, propertynoodlers@gmail.com. Send us an email, and we can get a little chat going and get things started. With that, I'm going to let John close us out here today.
You know what? Being part of our team is something that would be really beneficial to anybody who's open to learning this business. I just want to throw in that we start right from the beginning, putting the meat on the sandwich, getting you out there, making deals happen, getting you understanding the most important part of the business, and that's the sale, the negotiation, the acquisition. And from there, you'll have the ability to work closely with Paul and I, learning all the aspects of the business, so that maybe the acquisition side isn't your niche. We get you started there because we want you to have the ability to get some deals and make some money right away. But you'll also have the ability to learn all the different ins and outs of how a wholesale real estate business works and operates, everything from acquisition to resale and everything in the middle. So with that being said, you could take what we show you, stay with us, learn it, and eventually be able to apply it to your own business. And quite frankly, if you work with us for a year and you realize maybe real estate isn't your thing, what we do with our real estate business can be applied to any business out there. If you're in network marketing, if you're in paint contracting, if you've got an internet business, if you have a store that you own, a restaurant, businesses are businesses. There's variations, but it all comes down to there's an important system that needs to be put in place. And it's not just about real estate investing. It's about an entire system to make your real estate investing a business and not a hobby, because that's where you'll make real money at this. So with that being said, I think Paul has said his piece, and I'm just going to finish out by saying, "O universe, I ask not for more riches, but for more wisdom with which to make better use of the riches given to me at birth through the power to control and direct my own mind to whatever ends I may desire." Thank you, and we'll see you back here on Wednesday.
Yep, and enjoy my blue sky goodbye. See you guys.